Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, John. Also, as we begin, we had a tragic event this last weekend where one of our members lost his life coming in the main gate. And if we could just take a moment of silence out of respect for the individual and his family. Thank you. Okay, verification of quorum.
Yes. Director Bill? Here. Director Cook?
Here.
Director Commission?
Here.
Director Doherty?
Here.
President Van Vliet?
Here.
By present quorum met.
Thank you, Harmony. And with that, do we have any public official comments? I see Darcy.
Thank you, President Van Vliet, board, staff, neighbors, friends. Sadly, I have really no good news tonight. So most of you have gotten in the mail a proposed, it's called a Prop 218 notice. It's a proposed wastewater sewer increase. So that increase, if passed, would impact families about $5 a month for a family of 4. It would be less the fewer people you have in the household. And this goes to a lot of things, chemicals, energy, all the things we've talked about in the past. And in that same notice, you probably saw something about, it's called a water shortage surcharge. And that's actually required by the governor for drought and other things. Both of these items, for a variety of reasons, I am philosophically opposed to. I don't necessarily like that we as a water agency know how many people live in your house. I don't care. I shouldn't care. I know that the state really loves that, but I'm really not a fan of the state at this moment. So I'm having a hard time following the rules. I think I just had a conversation that I'm really getting ready for willful disregard, doing it on purpose and I guess being in timeout. But those things are coming before the board on November 9th. We are having an informational meeting for our community on the 17th at the Water District at 6 p.m. That'll be virtual and in person. So if you have questions or want to learn more, I know that we will have staff at the city council meeting next Wednesday also doing a presentation with the details. The details are in your notice. My phone number is pretty much anywhere. My email, I'm happy to discuss whatever concerns you want to have. One of the things that is positive, I guess there's 2 positive things. I'll make this a negative sandwich, but the meat is positive. For those of you that are aware of our RARE program, the rate adjustment program that we have for our seniors, for those that are lower income or are struggling, that's always been for water only. And as I've seen the wastewater charges escalate, the board preliminarily got a financial snapshot of what that does to our reserves if we were to actually give money towards wastewater rates. And we will be proposing to adopt a $5 monthly offset for the wastewater charges as well. So if you're already on the RARE program and you stay in compliance with what the rules are and you get that discount, which is about $30 on your water bill, you'll also now see a $5 offset on your wastewater charges. Next Wednesday, October 11th at 9 a.m., we'll actually have a groundbreaking for our $280 million regional wastewater reclamation expansion. And on November 2nd, hopefully all of you got a notice that we are renaming our administration building in honor of Phil Williams, who passed away tragically and unexpectedly last November. A little fun fact, when he was very first married, although he was a lifelong resident of Lake Elsinore, he moved to Canyon Lake. The first house he and his bride ever owned was actually in Canyon Lake. And he realized quickly that he was about 4 decades too young to live here at that time. So he quickly moved out. Mayor Smith will still be having the coffee next October 11th at 7:30. I will not be able to attend because we'll be getting ready for the groundbreaking. Tomorrow, I have submitted a request to speak in front of the State Water Resources Control Board. Many of you may have seen the commercials. If you've gone to a local fair, conservation is a way of life. It's like the happy bear that's blue. It has some dots. It's very friendly. And some of the details of that proposed regulation, I just want to tell you how it would impact Canyon Lake. The staff has come up with what they call the maximum amount of water you could use in a landscape, period, no matter where you live. So if we lived in Redondo Beach, we get the same amount of water as we would here. The way they've ratcheted it down in the next 10 years is unsustainable for turf. And there's no exceptions. That means parks. That means golf courses. That means yards. There's no exceptions. The penalty is not on individuals, although let's be real, I know where our money comes from. It comes directly from your wallets. It's actually on the water district. So that if we were to continue to serve water for those 3 holes that are on the golf course that have potable, for example, we would be fined up to $10,000 a day. I've asked staff to budget for that. This is my willful disregard for stupidity. We use 10% of our water, of the entire state's water, and these draconian measures aren't necessary. But our schools will be impacted. There won't be football fields. The heat index will rise. All the things that they say they care about will be impacted. So I'll let you know how that one goes. I don't have a lot of high hopes, though. Happy to take any questions.
Hi, John.
Hi, Darcy. Thanks for that information.
Welcome.
One little point I want to bring up is that potable water is for the 3 holes on the golf course. It's also for all 18 of the greens. So there's a lot of water consumed,
Yep.
potable water consumed, even though we saved millions of gallons.
They
with
don't
our-
care.
With our irrigation system. So one other real quick question is, do we have any hard date or more realistic date of when the plant, when the plant will be open?
I'm so glad you asked that question. So the plant is 90% designed. So what our process is we send that design to a third-party consultant to make sure that what they're recommending, 1, will actually work and is modeled, but 3, are the dollar signs right? Is this really what it's going to cost? So that process is already in place. We imagine we're going to kick off construction by summer of next year. So you're looking at 2027. We'll turn the plant on. I also want to say, though, that I've been able to negotiate a deal with Metropolitan Water District. So the goal is to keep that lake as full as possible, as often as possible, because building a $60 million water treatment plant and then not being able to use it is a stranded asset. It makes no sense whatsoever. And the more local control we can have of our water, as you've seen from the governor, the better off we are. Great question, though, Joe.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Thank you, Darcy. Despite the fact that it's not always good news, we do appreciate you keeping us informed.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the time.
Are there any other public officials? No? With that, let's move on to the presentations. So if you recall, 6 months ago, we gave you an update on community security. And so we want to give you an update on the update. Now that's been about 6 months. We're going to take you through a presentation that will be made available on our website later at the conclusion. But we'll wait for a moment for that to come up. In the meantime, let me ask for to approve the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move.
Second.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
5 in favor, motion carried.
And we're waiting for the presentation to come up so you can see it on the screen instead of me doing hand puppets. So a little real-time adjustment. No, well, let's, let's see if we can come back to this presentation. We're having a little technical difficulty with presenting it on the screen. So what we will do is, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is we want to recognize our committee chairs. In October of every year, we go through and we decide who's going to be on the committees and who the chairs are and so forth. And one of our policies has been to get some turnover with that. So as you know, I've had the distinct pleasure of serving on this board for about 18 months now. And I've been a liaison to several committees. In that time, I've witnessed the incredibly hard work of so many dedicated volunteers. And some of these volunteers dedicate literally days and days of effort to this on their own time, using their expertise to help us bring their expertise to the POA and to the community. And so we want to recognize their service. They make this place a better place to live. They make this a better place to offload some of the duties of both the board and the staff. And they're an invaluable resource and expertise to us. So we want to thank them because we could not be the vibrant community that we are without the volunteers that we have. So what we're going to do is we're all going to come forward. I'm going to ask the board to stand forward and we're going to call you by name. And we'd like everyone to then come up and like to say a few words about you and offer you a thank you. Some recognition. For each person, we have a gift certificate of $100 that can be used at either the restaurants or the golf course. And we want to keep this tradition then going year over year as we continue to rotate our membership in our committee. So if the board members could please join me up front.
I want to say, first of all, just to add on to what Bill said, I came from being on this board by being on committees for the last 20 years. I believe they're an important role for this community and they never get enough attention. In most cases, they want to be behind the scenes. So it's always good. But I think this is really a nice thing to do to recognize some of these committee members that have been doing this for a long time and just appreciate him. So I want to bring Craig Brown up.
Funding father.
Craig Brown has been the chair on the Rules Committee for the last number of years. And on the Rules Committee, you know, there's a lot of rules. We have 170 something pages of rules that the committee helps revise, change, update, and so forth throughout the season, throughout the year. Craig's also a huge volunteer for the Wakeboard Club. He's always giving back. He's always looking for new ways to help the community, not outside of the committee. So he's an invaluable or super valuable volunteer. Unvaluable. I'm just kidding. But
Really.
yeah. I want to award him with the certificate. He is still going to be on the committee. He's just stepping down from the chair. And we are super excited that he's still part of it. So thank you very much, Craig.
Thank you very much.
Craig, picture.
You want?
Oh, all of us.
All of us? I didn't. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, come up, right? Whatever your name is.
I should remember that by now. I'd like to call David Goliath if he's here. I didn't see him when we walked in.
Accepting this
I
honor.
don't
in
see him.
Dave's
So
behalf.
who is accepting in his behalf? So Bill, you're famous. Look at you. So Dave has been instrumental with the Estates Committee. He's provided input on the monuments that we have over there, assisted with the CC&Rs over at the Estates Committee. He's improved mailbox lighting, the call box systems. He's contributed a lot, and he's done it for a long time. And as Alex said, the committees, they're the backbone of what we do here. They're the ones that keep things rolling. They provide the input that's needed for the decisions to be made or any of the amenities moving forward. So I'd really like to thank him, but he's not here. So if
We
you
will,
know
we
Dave,
will thank you.
he's probably back working at committee business. He's probably doing committee business. So if you know Dave, tell him that, you know, got a gift certificate.
Yeah.
Janine Schiffer, if you would please come up, please. Okay. Janine has been a longtime resident of Canyon Lake, all the way back to 1969. We can say one of the first. Oh, my goodness. Come on over here and face the crowd. Janine, like I said, has been here since 1969. 20 plus years ago, she was invited to participate in the senior center activities by her friend Mavis Kerr. Most of you may not know her, but Mavis was a very prominent name and person in our community, and a good friend of yours, I assume. Janine has served on the senior center board for over 18 years and chaired the work group for over 9 years. She co-chaired recently, last few years, with Kathy Barbe. Janine has organized the annual Senior Center Christmas party every year, which this year is going to be better than ever, right? And worked alongside the Thursday work group, which is similar to the Tuesday work group that works for the Senior Center. So she's on that team as well. In addition to her time with the Senior Center, Janine currently serves on the Recreation Committee and Emergency Preparedness. Janine is a devoted member to our community and continues to give countless hours to improve our paradise. We thank her for her leadership for the past 9 years on the Senior Center Work Group and look forward to continued service with the Senior Center Group. Thank you very much. There's your. There you go. How's that? You want some help?
No.
No? Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I heard.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Best sign.
Yeah. Next, we'd like Valerie Montgomery to please come forward.
Congratulations. You should see what goes on at the Green Committee meetings. Valerie Montgomery. I am proud to say that I have served alongside Valerie since she joined the Green Committee in 2006. I saw firsthand her commitment and dedication to the care of the golf course, and that never wavered over her 10 years as chairman of the committee. The golf course is a living thing that changes daily and needs constant care. Valerie was instrumental in caring for the short-term and long-term needs of the golf course. Valerie's leadership was also critical to the many projects the committee dealt with over the years. Here's just a few of those projects. The bunker renovation in 2017, reserve study evaluations and updates over multiple years, redesign of hole number 5 and the addition of the green tees, review the maintenance contract twice, rules revisions multiple times, drought tolerant project 2015 is when the golf course physically appearance changed quite a bit. That was a big deal for the golf course community. The rebuild on the lake on hole number 13 and the replacement of the irrigation system just a couple of years ago. Those last two items saved you and our community over $100,000 annually in water savings. So those were big projects. Valerie has presided over 100 monthly course inspections. Those are a 2 to 3 hour event touring the course once a month, just to see the good things and the bad things that need to be attended. And then she prepared 120 meeting agendas over her 10 years. So, and she was very diligent about those. Never missed anything. Valerie was truly dedicated and devoted to the care and well-being of our golf course. As her friend, I thank her for the opportunity to work with her over those years. As a representative of the POA, I thank her for her leadership the past 10 years on the Green Committee protecting our golf course. And we look forward to her continued service and contributions as a committee member. Thank you. I don't care what he says. Picture. Hey, thank you. Congratulations. Yeah. Just the interim stuff. Not after that speech. I know. Can you top this? I know. All right.
Take front and center.
I'm the microphone guy here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, another awkward presentation because he's not here either. This is for Steve
Recurring
Liebring.
theme here.
You scare him away?
I did. I locked him out in the parking lot because I want to make it quick. So this is for Steve Liebring. Many of you know Steve. He has contributed quite a bit over the years. He's currently the chairperson of the FPC. And we want to thank him for everything he's done. He's been involved and instrumental with the pickleball courts, the road repair work, all kinds of different things here. There's just too many to list. And not only that, he's just a good guy. So we would like to thank him. He's on vacation today. He's not getting back till later. So I'm going to do this with Greg because he's almost as tall as Steve. So there you go.
Let's put this down. Take a picture.
Right, thank you.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, not at all.
All right, next one is my honor. So this individual, Joe Washley, would you please come forward? Thank you. So a new policy was put in place last year, and Joe was the chair of our finance. So he actually was the first chair to retire from that position, but we're recognizing him today for his service. Joe was the chair of the finance committee for, come on up, Joe. Let's see, 7 years. Come sit next to me or stand next to me. There we go. Perfect. So on October 2012, he joined the finance committee. May 2013 to 16, he was the chair. And he chaired it again from 2020 to 2022. And some of, for those of you who aren't familiar with the finance committee, this is our brain trust. So all of our reserves, a lot of the financial decisions, the ones who crunch the numbers to decide how much we can afford to spend, how much the dues should be, and so forth. He was the chairperson of that committee. So he was responsible for the restructure of the reserve investments to help optimize our available earnings. He organized requests for proposals for the investment advisor services and organized the decision to change investment companies in 2015 and 16, which substantially increased our return. He added first and second alternates committee, so we have more participation from board members. He structured and added more minutes in meetings. He structured and organized a discussion of fees and reserves in advance of the annual budget meetings. And he hosted, this is what he's most well known for, that committee after budget gatherings in his home in order to foster team building and relationships among the committee. So Joe's a longtime personal friend and a great community representative. And so Joe, please join me in recognizing Joe for his achievement. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. And Joe still is on the finance committee also, by the way, and continues to add valuable contributions. I know we got to worry about this. Last but not least. So the last award, thank you, but not the least, John Stelzner, please join me. John is the chair of the Architectural Control Committee. And he has been the chair for 21 years. 12 to 23, I'm giving you an extra year. The year's not over, John. He's been the ACC chair since 2012 and on the committee since 2004 before that. John, if you don't know, is a retired lieutenant, a colonel in the Air Force. He is very dedicated to the community and has an extremely hard and extraordinary work ethic. For those of you who aren't familiar, the Architectural Control Committee, and John in particular, they meet 2 full days a week, every week. And they deal with hundreds and hundreds of requests from committee members to do improvements on their homes. So it's, I believe, the largest workload of any committee in the community. And so John's famous quote was, "I was wrong once, but I found out I wasn't wrong." He's one of those men that doesn't like a lot of accolades, so I know this is hard for him to be here, but he is well liked among the committee and all who've served with him over time. To give everyone an idea of just how much time he's committed to our community, he's in there working. He's been mentoring people on Tuesdays. He's in there on Thursdays as well since he became the chair in 2012. So if you add up the hours we're talking, I mean, we're talking probably 20 hours a week for 20 years. It's a lot. So a lot of time. I better than a check. I have a certificate for you. So yeah, actually, it's a total of 4,464 hours of service. Which is, if you haven't done the math, is approximately 558 days, which is 1.5 years of his life he spent in dedication to us. Not to mention all of it was unpaid. So that's a debt we can't repay, but we thank him for his tremendous length of service and honor his dedication to the community. And so please join me in thanking John for his achievements. Everyone? Let all the committee members come forward. Yeah, we'll have them go on, maybe get them in front, let them back. Let's put them in front. Yep, watch that. There you go. In front, you guys in front, you guys all in front and the dummies in the back. They need between. Oh, this is. Here. Wait, come on, come on. One more round of applause, please. All right, next we'll do with a presentation. And you can see is an update on community security. So let's go to the next slide, please. So as we did last time, we're going to follow the same agenda, which is we're going to start with the first thing that we'll repeat every time that I think if I get any calls or letters, this is probably the top of the list, which is who do I call when something's going wrong? Do I call the police or sheriff, or do I call community patrol? So as a reminder to everyone, this is who to call. Go back, please. So you want to contact community patrol for speeding, traffic sign violations. And the reason for that is because we own the roads. The POA owns the roads. Any vandalism to common areas, a suspicious person or vehicle, or any solicitation to your home, any parking violations you see, any motorcycle riding in the community, any underage golf cart driving, any loud noise complaints, any barking or loose dogs, or illegal fishing. Those are all community patrol contact points. For the sheriff, you want to contact them for any traffic accident or hit and run or a DUI. You want to contact them for any vandalism to private property. So if your car or truck was broken into, if something was stolen, if someone breaks into your house, those are all things you contact the sheriff first. And again, major crimes, homicide, rape, robbery, theft, attempted break-ins, aggravated assault, obviously all sheriff's office and law enforcement. Anytime a motor vehicle you have theft, whether it's a car, truck, motorcycle, again, the person to call is the sheriff's office, arson, and also public intoxication. Those are things. So call 911 for those numbers. And otherwise contact the community patrol, and the direct number is listed on there, which is 951-246-2721. And I know I have it in my list of favorites on my phone. Okay, in the last 6 months, we logged over 3,700 incidents in the community. So, when people say, geez, is our security doing anything? Well, there's in 6 months, 3,700 incidents occurred. That's over 500 per month, right? Actually, it's closer to 700 really. And if you think about it, we've issued over 6 months, 51,000 parking and speeding tickets overall. Most of those, 51,000 gate passes, my mistake. So over the last 6 months, 51,000 gate passes were issued to guests at the gate. 70% of the 3,700 incidents are speeding tickets overall. And if you look at vandalism, that's been running about 8 security and vandalism incidents per month. So if you look at the chart, and I'll compare some of these numbers to the last 6 months for you. We've now hit the point where we've been tracking this for a year. So in the future presentations, we can compare it to prior years. Because there is some, as you'll see, there's some seasonality in the data. So guest pass issues. This is pretty interesting if you look at this. We average around 30,000 or so, or 30,000 per month. And the other, I said 50,000 average per month before. 30,000 per month. But you can see the biggest month is what month? May, right? Fiesta days. We see a substantial increase on that. The surprising thing here is, despite I think the common belief is that we think the 4th of July would also be as high. And it's a little bit higher than the other summer months, but not a lot. So in the last year, the biggest traffic, the biggest amount of guest passes have come in May. In terms of total calls for service, not surprising to see that go up in the summer months, right? So May, June, July, August, it's typically rises on there. I don't know if you can see on the slide, but there are small dotted lines that go across the top that kind of show what the averages are. So the months that were above average are the summer months, and then they'll drop back down in the winter months. Citations issued, you can see citations issued there. We peaked there in July because there's a lot of activity in July. But again, in general, the summer months are typically higher. And the vandalism incidents have all kind of trended about the same, and with an average of about 8 per month. If you want to compare to last year, I'm looking at the numbers for last year. The total citations are actually up a bit, a couple hundred per month or so on average. The calls for service are about the same. Vandalism incidents are actually down a little bit from last year. Last 6 months, I should say. Next slide. So one of the things we're gonna be talking about tonight is e-bikes. We've had a couple of 28-day readings the last 2 months in a row. So we will be voting on implementing or enacting those rules. And so once we enact them, then the key is on enforcement. So just to kind of give you a summary of what e-bike rules are, again, it's an extension of basic bicycle safety rules, but all the rules we're doing are enforcing the California state rules. And so the California state rules say that all e-bikes have to have a fixed label that specifies the vehicle performance on it. Now, the other thing too is if you want to see, there's a website. There's an excellent state-based training website, and I think it was issued by the Highway Patrol. It's at www.articulate.com. And if you go to that website, it's a really nice, walks you through on e-bikes, e-bike safety. And if you're thinking about buying an e-bike, what are the considerations you might want to do, how you fit it to yourself and things like that. So strongly encourage people to take a look at that. Now in Canyon Lake, we're going to allow 3 classes of bikes, 1, 2, and 3. It is a maximum power rating of 750 watts. Helmets are required, excuse me, for riders under 18 and for all riders on a class 3. And so for class 1 or 2, children under 16 can ride them. You have to be 16 or older to ride a class 3. And the class 3 has to have a speedometer. And just to review, review the rules that are going into effect. All e-bikes have to be registered with the POA. Anybody required to take a safety test, and you need to pass, it's a 90% or better passing rating to get it. Once you have it, we require a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit. All is required to have lights, and the lights need to be on after daylight or from dusk to dawn. All bikes will have 1 rider per seat. It has to have functional pedals and pedal assist, and no reckless or unsafe behavior. So you can't weave through traffic. You can't run stop signs. You make sure you can't use your cellular device when you're riding your bike, and no wheelies or going against traffic. Another rule we're putting in place is you have to yield to community patrol when it's requested. So that's what's on the docket tonight for a vote, but just wanted to reinforce that, because this has been of the number, I think if everyone on the board would agree with me, the number one comment or complaint or things when people talk to us is probably on this subject. I saw an e-bike doing this or that and such. So e-bikes are certainly an area of interest and focus for us. Okay, if we look at security incident tracking, if you take out all the incidents excluding traffic, parking, speeding, and so forth, this is how many happen per month. And the ones in yellow are the incidents for community patrol, and the ones in blue are the ones that the sheriff has designated overall. And again, how this compares to last month, or last 6 months rather, is, well, it compares to it's a little higher in the summer. We were about, July was about, actually the July this year was lower than last year. May was, we didn't have May last year. So, but this correlates with the prior data you saw on the other slide. So again, good data for us to take a look at, because knowing what our issues are and knowing when to deploy resources, when we need them, we have to have the data to kind of tell us how to direct that. So we're now tracking this information and using it to apply to our enforcement. Next slide. Okay, another complaint that I know I will often get is people say, geez, I call community patrol, but they never show up, or I make a complaint to the POA and nothing ever happens to security. I don't know, has anyone ever heard that? Anyone ever complained on that? So whenever we're dealing with law enforcement, it's difficult for us to give all of the details to make it public, because a lot of times, sometimes there's an investigation and so forth. But we wanted, the purpose of this slide is to tell you some of the things that we have done, some incidents that we have addressed and resolved. The one in April was the paintball gun. A guard came up to some teens that were gathered here in the lodge, and they shot him in the neck with a paintball gun. He was injured and so forth. We reported it. We got help through both the use of our cameras, through community cameras, and also assistance on social media. And we were able to identify all the parties involved and take disciplinary action. Similarly, in June, there was a vandalism at the Happy Camp restrooms of over $500. The staff was able to identify the parties involved. And again, we were able to take care of it, take disciplinary action, which typically involves fines and so forth for their parents in that case. Golf field was a similar one. We had several teens loitering and they stole the Little League chalk markers, and they proceeded to vandalize the common area and stole signage off the fencing and so forth. It was reported through the help of surveillance cameras and also community feedback. In another case where we went to the public on Facebook, again, we were able to identify all of the parties involved in that and take disciplinary action. In White Wake, if some of you may remember, there was a vehicle that ran down the street, sideswiped a car, took out a signpost, actually hit the curb with such force that it sheared off the right front wheel off the truck. The individual was spooked by it and drove out of the community on 3 wheels, leaving a trail of sparks out the east gate. This is a case we were able to use homeowner video. This is our camera program. We're able to identify that and also information from our cameras to correlate the information and determine who the responsible party and the person who called them in. And again, disciplinary is being taken now on that. And the final one, I know a number of you are familiar with the dirt bike ride out that happened earlier last month. A large group of about 20 to 30 illegal dirt bikes rode in. They came in through the exit gate at the main gate, kind of came down Canyon Lake Drive and had a number of things. It was posted quite noticeably all over social media. And there was some damage caused to a vehicle. They ran into a car. They ran into one of the other riders, and they damaged some private property on someone's lawn and so forth. Again, this is a case where we worked with the public, with POA, also with Riverside Sheriff's Office, and we were able to provide the information to the Sheriff's Office to pursue, and disciplinary action is being taken. And in both the first and last one, those are 2 good examples, the paintball gun incident and the dirt bike ride out, where it really took a partnership between the POA and the city to work together to do that. And we've taken some additional actions since then to help prevent future occurrences. So I want to provide these examples as evidence or just cases where you can see that while we can't report on everything, at least we wanted to give you some feedback that we take this seriously and we are taking action. Thank you for that. Okay, so again, cameras are effective for us. One of the things we've been continuing to do is to expand our community camera coverage. And so we've installed cameras at the senior center. We've installed them at the main gate motorcycle parking, at the north gate motorcycle parking, at both dog parks, and the north ski restrooms. And so in total, we have several hundred cameras throughout the community now, and we will continue to add cameras as are needed to help continue to improve our coverage and provide as much oversight as we can. Okay, so that's what we're doing with the POA. Here's some tips for homeowners. This has been provided by our Security Advisory Committee. And they put it, if you get your Canyon Lake Living magazine, how many people get that magazine? How many read it? Canyon Lake Living. In your Friday flyer? Come on. Okay, good. Good. It's a great magazine that's put out by the POA. A lot of good information in there. One of the pages is from our Security Advisory Committee, and they put a page in every issue. This one was on tips for your home. And it's just based on feedback that we get from people when incidents happen. And these are some things that you can do to help protect your home. The first thing is lock up. But you'd be surprised how many people say their vehicle or things or their garage is broken into and so forth, where they don't lock up routinely at night, taking valuables out of your car, things like that. So making sure you lock. Another one, we haven't had much cybercrime and so forth, but take a look at your internet, make sure your internet is secured, that you use strong passwords. And another one, just as a personal behavior one, is be careful of your online habits. I know when we go to a wonderful vacation and we get there and say, hey, I'm headed for Paris, France, or wherever I'm going, so forth, it does send, if you're on broadcasting that on social media, it can send a message that maybe your house is unoccupied and so forth. And those are some things you may want to take into consideration in terms of behavior, because it really begins, all security across the board begins with good personal behavior. From your home, motion sensing lights, lighting up the exterior perimeter is one of the best things you can do. If you get something that's motion sensing, can do it. If you don't have a security or doorbell camera, they're very effective. They can record the data, they can store it. You can look at it before, whether you're home or not, as to who's at your door, and do that. And the other thing is, again, tried and true, dogs are a good deterrent. As long as they bark and sound loud, depending on whether or not they are, they are a deterrent. Most thieves want to hit a home that no one's there, there's no dogs, and there's no security. And then the last thing is, if you get the opportunity to participate in, work with your neighbors. One of the great things about Canyon Lake is we are a neighborhood community, and we look out for each other. And we encourage everyone to continue to do that. Walk your street, talk to your neighbors, and look out for each other. If their newspapers are piling up, pick them up for them. If their trash cans are left out, help take it up the street. And our security advisory committee is doing a pilot program for Neighborhood Watch. So we're trying this out. It's going to be on the old Wrangler neighborhood. And we're going to run that pilot in the next few months. And as we get some feedback and results from that, we're going to then offer that up to expand that up throughout the community. Also out of the security advisory committee is the security camera program. And again, we're about to hit our 100th customer. So maybe we'll have a lucky draw for as we get to the 100th customer. But these have been valuable, at least in 2 cases, of helping us create identifiable information that has helped with identifying individuals involved in a crime. And so I encourage people to do that. And now we're seeing a lot of, as incidents do happen, notice a number of members will even post on social media, hey, something happened on this street. Are there any neighbors in this area that may have cameras? And so if you don't have one, I encourage you to do it. We will maybe have some information coming out through the committee soon on how you can get some additional security cameras. But if you do have one, please sign up for the program, because I want to emphasize that you always have total control of the information. You do not have to release the information. You can offer it or you cannot offer it, but you are always, it's voluntary and you're always in control. But we'd like to do it. Actually, we're more than 56. We're in the 70s some odd range now. And we want to continue to expand that program to help get more eyes on the street. Okay, and the last thing that's going on with our security committee is our community patrol contract is up for renewal next year. And so we formed a subcommittee with the POA staff, and we initiated some pre-contract investigation efforts. Some of the things they're doing is they're looking at and reviewing and revising our requirements. We need to know what are the things we want them to do. We're assessing what are different business models we might consider. We're just kind of opening the whole landscape to see are there better ways to do it. We're evaluating new technologies that maybe can help. If there's something that can help automate something, cut down on manpower, do that. We're going to benchmark with other large HOA associations and communities to see if there's, again, best practices, other vendors and so forth that we can use. We will go out and survey the vendors and assess their qualifications, see how many vendors there might be available to do it. And as we go through that, we'll evaluate their past performance. Then we're going to create an RFP. We're talking about hosting some bidders conferences with the individuals that are qualified, and then we will define our specific source selection criteria. So a lot to be done. We're taking this very seriously because this only happens every few years. And we're doing that. So the objective is to have a final review by the board of directors and RFP by the end of the year. And with that, here's the takeaways from this is, again, it's a joint responsibility. It's the city, the POA and the residents' security is our joint responsibility. First and foremost, know who to call. If there's if you see something, we need you to speak up. Community patrol is active. They address over 500 incidents per month. And we've seen a rise in summer. We'll probably, if it's consistent with last year, we should see a decrease. With the exception in October and November, we do see a rise in those 2 months because of Halloween and things like that. But then the other months, the winter months, it tends to get down. We have addressed major security incidents. We don't always tell you because we can't due to law enforcement constraints and so forth, but we do want to let you know that we are addressing them, and we will let you know when we can. Both the POA cameras and the resident security cameras have aided law enforcement, and we want to encourage everyone to continue to do that. Our security advisory committee is leveraging the experience of our residents, and they're helping us with the next RFP. And we continue in every case where we can. We're working with the city to partner to use our joint accountabilities to help address the total security challenge. With that, any questions? Yes, if you want to come forward, just speak, because that way everyone online can hear you too.
If you want my lot and track and all that. I have a question about the graffiti issues and the vandalisms, and I don't think we've had that, but vandalism and things like that. Are there repeat offenders? Are they the same people that are causing these troubles? Number one. Number two, you say that there are penalties, disciplinary action that's going on. If they're repeat offenders, does that increase? And at some point, does the POA have any, do we have any opportunity to say, you're out, you're done, get out of here? I don't know what action can be taken if it's continuous.
A lot of questions in there. So the first question is, who is it? And the answer is, it's all of the above. There are some random instances. There are some that do repeat, or we have caught individuals. We do take disciplinary action depending on the fines and the incident. It can be up to $1,000 cost. If it is recurring, I think in some cases there are escalations. Unfortunately, if they are members, I think by our bylaws, we're not allowed to evict members of property. But we take additional action. Where we have been taking actions, we've found that we are getting better results. And so hopefully we'll see that continue. We'll see that decrease over time, but you have to be ever vigilant. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So with the next point, are there any member comments? I'll move to the next item. Are there any member comments on agenda items?
Yes, we have one. Sherry Stone.
Nice.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. I'm here to address an issue that arose on Sunday afternoon, Sunday afternoon with my family. My son, who's here in the audience with us today, took a walk down Vacation Drive to the lake. A pretty decent walk, but nonetheless, he took a walk down Vacation to Canyon Lake Drive to the lake. There was a call made to security stating that he was displaying suspicious behavior, and he had urinated on a wall. Now, I don't know if any walls on Vacation Drive, they're all homes. Did he go into someone's property and do this? No. Did he do this at the lake? No. So I'm wondering, what is the policy for security to address these issues and investigate these issues? Because he did no investigation, they just approached him. So, and what is if there is a policy in place, if a caller makes a false accusation, what is the consequence to that caller? And if you can hear it in my voice, I was very hurt and angry all at the same time, and I still am.
So I'm sorry that happened. And I apologize for us, but Eric, can you maybe help us with the policy?
Yeah, if you can email me tomorrow, specific times and just a paragraph description of this, I will absolutely look into it. All of our community patrolmen have body cameras. There's dash cam footage. We will speak with them find out what they saw and get
Well,
there.
yeah, I did call security. I did
Okay.
have a conversation with them.
Okay.
They saw nothing. They
Okay.
saw him standing at the lake.
Okay,
Let me give you go back a little bit further. My son was in a very bad car accident about 3 weeks ago. Someone a red light hit him, totaled his car. He's very lucky to have walked away from that. He doesn't have a car right now. He's not driving because mentally he's just not ready to drive. So he's taking a walk to get out of the house just for peace of mind. And now this. You know, I work for the county of Riverside. My partner here is a detective for LA County Sheriff's. My oldest son is a college graduate with a biochemistry degree. He works for Abbott Laboratories. This son just graduated audio engineering school in Arizona. My daughter's in college right now. So we are a good representation of Canyon Lake. This is what we have to offer Canyon Lake. So for this to happen, I'm very hurt. I'm very angry.
understand. I will look into this tomorrow.
Okay.
As the
And I
first-
know you did email me and it was on my work email. I didn't have a chance to get back to you. I do
Okay.
apologize.
Okay, yeah, if you had given me information, I would probably have some more answers for you.
Mhm.
Let's communicate tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah, I guess to follow up on that, if anyone experiences something like that and you're not satisfied with what you get from community patrol, you can always contact this POA staff, or at the worst case, you can invite the board, and we'll, again, the first we kind of heard about it, we'd be happy to look into it and investigate it further. So thank you. Are there any other member comments? No? All right. Let's move to the consent agenda. Is there any desire for anyone to pull items from the consent agenda? Board members? Or is it a motion to approve the consent items?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Five in favor, motion carried.
All right, so the next one is page 54. Item 8.1, Community Property Owners Association Board of Directors Resolution regarding the sale of common area. So we have a resolution. The Canyon Lake Properties Association owns the real property, this is the fire station. And we have, the city, and we've entered into negotiations with the city now, notwithstanding the prospective sale of the fire station by the POA to the city, which the board fully intends to effectuate pursuant to the terms of the purchase service agreement. The POA's current board will not sell any common area. Furthermore, the current board will submit to the membership for prospective approval a proposed bylaw amendment that would require membership approval for any board in the future to sell common area. While the community largely appears to be in support of the sale of the fire station, there has been some concern raised about the possible future sale of other POA properties to third parties. And so for that reason, I am introducing this resolution. May I make the motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any member comments or questions about this? You can just raise your hand if you are. No? Okay. Board discussion. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Five in favor, motion carried.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, 8.2, we're going to approve the annual meeting of the members and election of directors ballot measures. So we are proposing 2 ballot measures for next year, 2024. Measure 1, when approved, is IRS revenue ruling 70-604. This measure, when approved, allows associations to avoid a tax consequence on any inadvertent excess member income that is applied to the following year, following fiscal year assessment when filing a tax return, Federal Form 1120. The proposed IRS ballot measure is considered an annual industry standard for clear tax filing authorization should the board decide to apply excess income to the following year's assessment. Although the association recognizes three options for the application of excess income: one, we could refund it to the membership; two, we could apply it to following year's assessments; or three, apply it to the reserves. This ballot measure only pertains to the option of applying excess income to the following year's assessment. That is measure one. Measure two is an amendment proposed to help quell any concern over the future sale of common area property by restricting any sale of common area without the approval of the owners. If it's approved, it'll add to the ballot. The association would launch an information campaign to detail the reasoning behind the proposed measure in an effort to inform the members of the association. Actually, I was wrong. There are three measures. The third measure would extend future board terms to one, instead of currently you can do two 2-year terms. This would be 1 4-year term with an interim and 2-year waiting period. The reason for that measure is proposed is to modernize this association's governing documents by adapting to the needs of the community and industry standards, and to better stabilize the corporation and the governing board, in addition to saving cost every year by having a bi-yearly election. If approved, we'll add this to the ballot, and the association will launch an information campaign to provide residents as to why we think this is good. As a note, this would apply only to future elections. It would not impact any current board members running for election. The fiscal impact on measures 2 and 3, if approved, it'll have additional copy, print, and distribution administrative costs per page in the election packet. The elections for boards average $30,000 to $40,000 per election. If measure 3 is passed, and administrative costs are expected to be reduced by 50% over a 2-year period. So that was a very long-winded introduction to the ballot measures. So again, just to summarize, measure 1, IRS ruling allows us to roll over income to the next year. Measure 2 puts a constraint on future boards so that they cannot sell future common area property. And number 3 extends board terms to 1 single 4-year term. I am making the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
In favor of making the motion? I made the motion. You seconded it. So we have to approve the motion, then take comment. All in favor of approving the motion? No? No, I'm out of order. Thank you. Getting ahead of myself again. I know. It's been a long day. Been a long day. Thank you for the sideways looks. Are there any member comments or questions they would like to offer? Just raise your hand if you'd like to speak. Please come forward, Mike. We'll wait. We'll let you get next question, Marwa.
Mike Harris, 3863086. If the community does not approve the sale, can the city then take it through eminent domain?
This excludes the fire station. This is excludes the resolution. What's on this ballot measure would be for future sales of common. So in other words, a board could not decide to sell a golf course, or a board could not decide to sell the equestrian center, or a golf field, or happy camp, is what we're saying. Can't do those future ones.
Okay, thanks.
It's for future common area amenities. Marwa, you have a question?
Will the 4-year term be also on the existing board directors?
No, it is
Or
not.
just
So
for
it would be
future?
just for future elections. So, and if we vote, it's not a vote for anyone to extend their terms. This is all in the future. And the reason for that is every year we go through elections and there's a cost every year and there's a big turnover. The POA has to go through orientation. Honestly, it takes board members 6 months to kind of get familiar and used to it. So they're kind of effective for 6 months before the end of that term. And so they're really only effective for really about a year out of a 2-year term. And so what we're trying to do is cut down some of the churn and reduce the costs, to the overall association. So we'll make that available that'll be explained in communication if this is enacted. But it would not affect any current board members.
It's not just the financial cost. The other part of it is the time of the staff that gets involved with these elections. It pulls them away from other projects. When we want to work on, say, secure motorcycle parking, they're going to be working on an election. So it's not just the financial cost, there's hidden costs, there's hidden time that we lose. So that's what we're trying to do, is just make it more efficient, and more efficiency means that less operating cost all around. So that's where we're hoping to keep dues down too, is improve the efficiency.
Thank you.
Any other member comments or questions? All right, board discussion. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
All right, on to item 8.3, annual committee member appointments.
Okay, yes, this is our annual reappointment roster of all committee members. So every year the board's policy requires that they reapprove any who are on. They also had to consider this year that chairs have a 2-year term limit, which has been extended in the past. So this year, this is all of our information, recommendations from the committees and consideration of the board. For our annual reappointment, we request the board approve appointment of the following committee members and chairperson changes to align with the Canyon Lake POA committee policy as attached.
Are there any modifications to the list?
Facilities planning. We're looking at moving Dale Welty and Steve Liebring to the alternate roles, and moving Chris Papavero up to a regular member.
And Ray Stribling?
And Ray Streebling, yes, sorry. Had it crossed off and couldn't read his name.
Are there any other changes?
We're looking at appointing Dan Lekwa as the chairperson, and Dan has agreed to fill that role. And that's not a change, but I want to put that out there.
As amended, is there a motion to accept this recommendation?
I'll make a motion. We accept this revised motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from the community? Member discussion? Board member discussion? Any comments? Okay, with that, let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
So next, we're going to go to item 8.4, Finance Committee appointment.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I'm representing Susan. Finance Committee has met and approved a new committee member per the current committee charter guidelines. The Finance Committee recommends that the board approve I'm not sure if it's Therese Washley to the position of Finance Committee as second alternate. Staff is recommending that the board accept the appointment of Terry Washley as a committee member for the CLPA Finance Committee effective immediately.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Member comments? No? Okay, board comments, discussion? Nope. I will say, looking at the resume, this is a very impressive resume. Actually, I know Terry quite well. She'll be a fine addition to the group. One clarification, I think she's coming on as an alternate, I think. I think that's their opening as an alternate position. But yeah, I think it's easy peasy. All in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Any opposed?
I'm in favor, motion carried.
All right, road reserve funding for year 2, project concrete work. Eric.
Okay, thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking around. Back in 21-22, the POA performed our year 1, what we call our year 1 road improvement project, full depth reclamation reconstruction project on 1.3 million square feet of our privately owned roads. Before work commenced, our engineer, contractor, and POA staff identified additional concrete replacements on multiple curbs and gutters, cross gutters, and spandrels. Throughout the year, and as the project progressed, we went into our contingency on that project and we identified additional concrete areas. This year, with the help of our engineer, we have our engineer and our contractor, we have identified additional work for the upcoming year 2 road work project. And we're going to treat this because we're paying for our engineer oversight out of the paving project contingency. We're going to treat this additional concrete work this year as a separate road improvement project. And the previously approved year 2 project and wait a minute, we would treat. Can't even read my own writing. Anyway, the scope of the damaged concrete work makes sense to be done now prior to the new asphalt work. We have included in your agenda distribution package and sampling of this. We did quite a bit at this last year. Originally, when we bid the paving project out last year, some concrete work and bad cross gutters and spandrels were included. And as we went through the project, we identified additional. This year, we included some in the paving project. And then as our contractor mobilized and physically walked the 1 million square feet of what's happening this year and started to plan their phasing, they identified some additional concrete work. And so that's what this approval is for. So the fiscal impact for the additional concrete work is $301,790 plus 5% from the road reserve fund. And staff requests that the board of directors approve the funding of $301,790 plus 5% contingency from the road reserve fund 03670 for the year 2 road project concrete work.
We have motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any member questions or comments? No. Board discussion.
I'll make a comment. Since I used to live on that side of the lake, many of these things that we seeing were things that were damaged 20 plus years ago and never been fixed. Drainage, sinkage in the street. And it's great that we're getting a chance to actually fix things right. So, you know, there's some problems there in our streets, and a lot of this is all curbing that have just cracked or been demolished by trees, overloaded cars, whatever the reasoning. It's just good that we're going back and making sure they're fixed right when we're doing the paving project versus in the past, they did not do that.
Yeah, also as an individual who's been on a street that was done in the first phase. They're beautiful. They're really nice. And I think it's important that when we do these, and we don't do these very often, but when we do them right. And so I'm glad to see us taking this on as well.
So yeah, this to me comes under the words that I live by is do it once and do it right. The concrete part, Alex said 20 years, these concrete things we're talking about have not been touched in 54 years. So as you can see from the pictures, they're due. And also you can see from the pictures, some of them at the where the curb meets the asphalt present some pretty heavy trip hazards, and we don't want that either. So hopefully these will last another 50 years, and probably most of us won't be here to enjoy them. So.
Okay, all in favor? Oh, wait, we're gonna do a roll call on this. Since it's a financial request.
All right, Director Bill,
Aye.
Director Cook,
Aye.
Director Commission,
Aye.
Director Doherty,
Aye.
President Van Vliet,
Aye.
5 in favor, motion carried.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8.6, prohibited vehicles, also known as e-bikes. Amanda, would you please come forward?
Good evening. This is our approval for GR 5.2. Really just continuing the discussion we've had for the last several months regarding e-bikes. So we are recommending that the board approve the following set of rules. I won't read all of them, but they are attached here. And I did want to mention that if these rules are approved, they will go into effect. However, the actual registration program that we are implementing, we're going to give a grace period for that, to allow members to get ready, to allow staff to get ready. So if these rules are approved, they'll go into effect, but the program will likely be rolled out a little later this month, and we will announce that as we get closer.
Is there a motion to accept these rules?
Motion.
Second.
Member comments? Any comments or questions? Please come forward, Mike. We have people online, and so we need you to speak into the microphone, please.
Will the testing be geared for 4-year-olds?
I can tell you 3 directors taken it and have not passed 100% yet. So I think. Okay, no, any board comments?
I want to point out that we got feedback from both sides, for and against. The doing this has been kind of rough. We realize we can't make everybody happy, but we are doing our best to make everybody safe. And that's the intention and the goal of this ruling that we're doing here.
Okay, seems like we have been talking about e-bikes for 3 months now. So with that, it's actually a 56-day reading we had on this one. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
All right. So while we're on a roll, Amanda, why don't you take us through community garden rules?
This is also an approval to continue the discussion last month for the new proposed community garden rules. I won't read them all, but they're very similar to other amenities that we have. No loitering, no smoking. There will be a set of hours, prohibited plants, proper composting. We are recommending that the board approve to add rules GC 1.1 through GC 1.10 as attached.
Is there a motion? Okay, one motion, second.
Second.
Member comments? Any members like to speak about the garden club rules? Board comments? All in favor of adopting the rules, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
A few more. So three more items. 8.8, 28-day reading for no skateboard, scooters, or bikes allowed. Talk to us about that, Amanda.
LR 2.7, so this is concerning the lodge where we're at currently. With the increase in popularity of personal electric devices, mostly e-bikes, staff felt it was appropriate to update the restrictions on operating these devices around this facility. We received multiple complaints and a lot of feedback from members, especially with the new renovations and the patio opening. And we've just seen a big increase of these bikes and devices being left unattended all around the facility, patio, walkways, and also being ridden dangerously throughout crowded areas. So we're really just trying to maintain the area's aesthetics, safety, the atmosphere, and staff feels that this rule and the fine revision is necessary. And so we are recommending that the board approve the rule revision to read as follows. Skateboards, scooters, bicycles, and any personal electric device such as electric bicycles, scooters, or wheeled boards are prohibited in or around the lodge facility and pool, including all walkways, entryways, patios, restrooms, and outdoor dining areas. Such devices and equipment must be left in designated racks at all times and shall not be left unattended or propped against any CLPOA property. This will carry a $100 fine, and we're recommending that the board approve this rule as attached.
We have a motion.
So move.
Second.
Member comments? Board
Ju-
comments?
Just for clarification, this does not mean the parking lot.
Correct.
However, the e-bike rules apply to the parking lot. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
We're on a roll. Let's go to illegal parking.
This is another 28-day reading to revise Rule GR.5.3R. It was brought to staff's attention that there is currently not a rule addressing vehicles that are parked in such a fashion that prevent our speed trailers from operating and enforcing the speed limit. So we're recommending this amendment to allow POA staff and patrol to cite such vehicles when appropriate. We're also recommending a small increase in the fine amount due specifically to the safety concerns in the lack of speed enforcement. So it's a slight change in this rule. If approved, it would read, no other illegal parking found to be blocking other vehicles from moving from a parking area, blocking speed enforcement trailers, and preventing operation, parking within a loading zone, or vehicles parked within a designated golf cart parking spot, and the fine would increase to $100. We're recommending the board approve the 28-day reading to revise this rule.
Motion.
Second it. Member comments? Come on forward, come on up.
That's a good question, Joe. I was going to ask Amanda if in fact there could be a sign on the face of the trailer saying no parking within, I said 50 feet, but I don't know if that would be appropriate. But if we could do something like that and determine what is the appropriate distance and add that to the rule.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to maybe put, I don't know if we can attach signage to those trailers. I'm sure we could. But we can also amend that rule. I'm so sorry, but I don't actually know that. It's much less than 50 feet.
Right.
But I don't know the exact measurement.
More than a car length.
Well, it has to do with when it would make the trailer inoperable and not functional. So we should look into that.
I know I have it. I just don't have it on the top of my head.
Another factor of that, not just the distance, but the size of the vehicle that's blocking. A truck versus a small car or golf cart would be a big difference. So I don't know how to address that, but if somebody was a motorhome and parked within, 25 feet of it, might block it too, versus a car wouldn't block it.
It might be better not to put a specific distance in the rule because of that reason, but maybe on signage, say, please park at least X amount of feet away from this trailer. And then patrol they'll obviously be able to tell whether or not the trailer is operational.
Well, if we don't know what the appropriate distance should be, how can we expect the homeowner to know? So I have an issue with that. I think if we're gonna set up a rule with definite fine, that we've got to be more specific or somehow convey to them what we want them to do and what would be safe.
I think those are good considerations. I'm going to recommend we table it until we,
The 28-degree.
we still gotta come forward with an amount before we can even do a 28-day reading. So I think we oughta, my recommendation is to go, let's determine some of those parameters associated with that so that the public know. That's my proposal, and see if anyone, that's a subsidiary motion, I guess, to table it. Is there a second on that?
Second.
The discussion? All in favor of
Well,
tabling?
I'm sorry, I do have discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we, well, why can't we approve the rule as it is and have 28-day reading gives us opportunity to discuss and investigate and come back next month with an appropriate reply rather than tabling it completely.
Well, let's ask the question, is ever allowed to do that? Can we have a partial measure hearing? I think we have to have the full measure for a 28-day reading, and I think we need some guidance on that.
Yes, so if you make a change to the rule now, then you need another 28-day read period before it becomes effective.
So you'd have to change it again.
Right.
Yeah, I understand it's not going to save any time. It's just rather than table it, at least put it through so we have it on, which will be on the agenda, but it'll be on the books as a rule presented today. And then we can deal with it next month. I mean, either way, it doesn't make a big difference to me.
I think what we're saying is bring it back in November as a 28-day reading. Bring it back in November as a 28-day reading with the details behind it. I think that's what's being proposed. Is that okay?
Fine.
All right, all in favor of that, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
And then the last item is 8.10, permanent guest lists.
This is a 28-day reading to revise rule GR.6.4, and this is really just to make the rule consistent with the recent policy change, which in an effort to prevent unauthorized access to the community, the board approved the following amendments to the permanent guest list policy. Permanent guest lists will be purged on an annual basis. It's important to note that adequate notification will be provided to the membership prior to this purge. We'll likely do it around the start of each new fiscal year. And so we are recommending that the following rule be amended to read: a permanent guest list is available for members to list up to 6 guests per tract and lot. These guests will remain on the property until removed or purged. These lists will be purged on an annual basis. A guest pass will be printed at the gate upon presentation of a valid driver's license, which shall be valid for 10 days. It is the responsibility of the guests to obtain a new pass after the pass has expired. We're recommending that the board approve the 28-day reading as attached.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Member comments? Any members wish to speak on this? Okay, board discussion?
Yeah, I think it just needs to be said, the reason I think I started talking about this last April, the permanent guest list. One of the things with the permanent guest list is what we were seeing is people weren't deleting people off their permanent guest list. They were putting them on there and leaving them on there for unknown length of time. And so we started feeling like, and I was a perfect example of that. I had people that no longer can even drive. They're elderly now, that were on my permanent guest list that I wasn't removing. You were seeing Facebook people saying, hey, my sister in Washington State got called into the gate. She's on my permanent guest list, but she's nowhere near in town. The permanent guest list is just that. It's not for your temporary guests. It's for people that probably going to enter the community a lot. So you don't have to worry about calling them in. So maybe a care provider, maybe a babysitter, something of that sort forth. So we felt that was a big thing is like, let's make sure that we're clearing that permanent guest list on an annual basis. So we have a very clear understanding of what the guest lists are actually for. So that was my thought process. And I think that as we go down this and you're seeing this already, you know, there's going to be restrictions on holidays, the permanent guest list and all that stuff. It's just to try to control access a lot better than we were doing before. So that's where this all comes from.
Thanks, Alex. Any other comments? All right, all in favor of adopting this 28-day reading, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Eric, could you please give us an association report?
I will. Okay, so we have the car show coming this weekend, Saturday the 7th. JWC has Rocktoberfest coming up on October 14th. The Guild has a Tim McGraw tribute on 10/21. And the city is going to have their State of the City event out here on Sunset Terrace on Thursday, October 26th. And then Concert at the Lodge will be hosting the Fabulous Thunderbirds November 4th. We still have tickets available for that. We were proud to open 2 new and 4 newly resurfaced pickleball courts today. And heard nothing but rave reviews. It's a very nice improvement to our community, additional capacity. They look fantastic and probably the nicest pickleball courts for 100 miles. You probably noticed that our construction fencing outside here on the terrace is down by the beach and up here on top. Many people have visited the patio dining. I wish it was complete before we showed everybody. It's definitely still a work in progress, but people don't seem to mind at all. We've been pretty much full house every weekend. Laura's had some live entertainment out there. It's a very popular venue already, pretty much requiring reservations to dine out there. Just want to let everybody know it's not finished. I wish it was before we unveiled everything, but we got to keep moving on the interior project. And so we tore the restaurant completely apart. It's all the demolition is done. The ceiling's torn out. There's wires hanging everywhere. It's like a new construction. And we had no choice but to open the lounge and the patio for dining. The patio furniture will be here. Most of it coming this month. What we have out there is a combination of the back balcony furniture, the holiday bay room furniture, and some new furniture. So it's kind of a mishmash, but can't wait till it's all done. We have tile coming on the fire pits, tile coming on the fountains, landscaping, irrigation. There's some more electrical and lighting that's going to happen out there. And I look forward to the day that all of that's done and we turn the fire pits on and we can cross that one off our list. In the meantime, the restaurant's going well. We've been tearing it apart and we're just now starting to turn the other direction and put it back together as an all new restaurant. So that's exciting. And shortly following that will be the same process out here in this hallway, this flooring is going to be replaced, and the lounge will get a new fireplace and all new flooring and new finishes in there. So very excited to open all of that later this year. The country club, we opened up our renovated, at the golf course, we opened up our renovated new shaded driving range area on Saturday. Joe, Bruce, Alex and I played in the city golf championship. And I'm not proud to say that we came in last place. I added almost no value to our team. I think I had 2 good shots, one on the same hole. So I almost birdied one hole by myself, but you know, I definitely realized you cannot play golf one time a year. It's just not that kind of game. But the new driving range area was very well received. Now you can go practice in the shade, and it's a very nice improvement over there. We're going to be making some other improvements out in front of the solar structure. There's kind of a gully there. We're going to fill that in and work on the turf out there. The golf course will also be reseeded as we do every year. And I meant to look up the dates. I think it's next week, 9th through the 20 something usually. So coming up soon, we're going to close the golf course for 2 or 3 weeks. And what is the date? 9th through the 29th. Okay, Joe says the 30th, Canyon Lake Living says 29th. So anyway, later this month, the golf course will be closed. And thank you, Joe and Bruce, for carrying our team the other day. Alex and I really appreciate it. What was that?
I said, you call that carrying what I did? I
Well,
dropped the team down,
Well,
but we had fun.
we had a great time, so it really was a fun tournament. Let's see. We talked about the golf course. I always urge people to review the staff reports in the agendas that we pass out in the hallway. In there is a fantastic amount of information. As always, communications has a very polished, shiny, the fanciest report, because that's what they do, is communicate really well. Lynn's scrolling through it. And if you haven't ever spent time with their report, I urge you to. It's just the report itself is impressive, and the work that Tiffany, David, and Mariah do every month is just fantastic. They put out a newsletter every Friday, Canyon Lake Living, all of our social media. Please take a look at their report. You'll be as impressed as I am, as we are. I think all of us are collectively impressed with them. And I just want to thank them publicly for always making us look really good. They added a whole nother level of professionalism, this team. And since I've been here, our communications have a whole new professional look to them, and really appreciate them. There are other reports in your agenda. Community Patrol, Marine Patrol. There's always a very detailed operations report. I take a lot of my general manager's report during the meeting. While they do business, I go through these reports, and that's where I pull most of my information. This month, operations report will tell you that the Holiday Harbor dock should be installed in early November. Operations will be ordering and installing a swim up dock next year at Indian Beach, and we look for that to be installed in springtime. Our year 2 paving and concrete projects. Thank you for approving the concrete portion, board. We talked about that a little bit. We're going to be starting that soon. That's an $8 million project, mostly on the Longhorn side of the community. We will be notifying members via email groups and garage door flyers. We had a pre-construction meeting last week with our contractor and our engineers. We have a phasing plan about 99% dialed in right now, and we'll be publishing that soon. We should be starting the concrete work in November, December, and the paving will start in January. And that's my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. So there's not much going on this next month, it sounds like.
Not at all. Kind of boring, right?
Yeah, no, we're getting toward that holiday period where there's just all kinds of things to do here. And again, one of the great reasons we live here is all the great activities, and the staff does a tremendous job putting all these on for us. So thank you for that. Okay, let's go into board comments. Jeff?
Well, I'd like to point out tomorrow morning, the Canyon Lake Chamber of Commerce has a roundtable meeting. If you're interested, it's at the Canyon Lake Country Club at 7:15. And I'd also like to point out that the Ring Camera Program, I know you guys hear about it all the time. That identified vehicles, as Bill presented in his report, that the vehicles that crashed into the signs, drove out on 3 wheels. I mean, it's pretty good talent right there. So please look into it. Please, if you're comfortable with it, sign up. They're not taking control of your cameras. They just want a list of people. If there's an issue, they can call them and say, hey, do you have footage? And it helps. It works. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is we've talked today about secure motorcycle parking. We are moving forward with looking into that. We've got committees that are helping us and advising us on that. So hopefully we'll have something, and no pun intended, concrete soon to build on here. So that's really about all I've got.
Thank you, Jeff. Joe?
Yeah, I can clarify one thing with Eric. Canyon Lake Living is not incorrect. The golf course is closed on the 29th and it opens on the 30th. So as a golfer, we're only concerned with the day it's open. So that's why the 30th was in my mind.
Well, that's great, because they just said how fantastic our communications team is. So I appreciate that clarification.
Okay, and tonight was a special night, I think, because we took the time to do and say what we have believed all along as board members and as community leaders, that committees are a real value to this community. And I couldn't be happier that we made the effort to recognize that these people put a tremendous effort into their service. And I want to congratulate each one that was recognized tonight. And I want to congratulate each one that serves and that was approved this evening as well for their continued service. So I think it's just a great thing for our community and a tremendous asset sitting here as a board member, having to deal with so many different projects and options and considerations, to have the committees come to us with, basically specific ideas and thoughts that we can go forward with. So I know in years past, committee members didn't feel valued, but I can assure you by this board and this staff today, they are tremendously valued. Thank you. The senior center is having a boutique coming up, and they're also planning their Christmas party and New Year's party. So keep an eye out for those dates, and I'll try to refresh you with those as we get closer. They also did get 3 new security cameras installed around the building. So that's just added security that we continue to do in the community. And there's a great example of that. I'm liaison on the Green Committee. And while we said goodbye to Valerie as chairman, I look forward to working with John Kegwin in the new position. And I want to stress the fact that with the new charter that we adopted a month or so ago, that there will be 3 open positions on the Green Committee. So no longer having club participation or recommendations for members. We're going strictly with board selected members, but we need applicants to apply. So I want to stress the fact that there'll be 3 openings, and we hope to fill those in December. City Scramble was a great event for the cities and for Canyon Lake. And I personally want to thank Eric and the POA for supporting us in that endeavor, as well as the city. Both the organizations came together and helped us put on a really great event. And we actually had the City Scramble, which is a competition of cities and agencies. And we had a city championship, which was a 2-day event. And I can tell you that the overall champion came from Sewell Park, which is up in above Ventura, Oxnard. Forget the town. Oh, Sewell. No. Anyway, it's so we attracted people from quite a long ways, and this guy came out and played quite well and deserved the title and the champion of Canyon Lake for this year. So with that, I thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Joe. Alex?
Close to my heart. Just want to say the communication team is putting this out, but if you're going camping in Happy Camp this month, this holiday, they are doing a Halloween camp spot contest. So whoever dresses up their camp spot the best, they will be awarding prizes to that. Kind of fun. Happy Camp has continued to be busy. If anybody knows, and it's been there since the last 3-4 years, that it's pretty much reservations only. Always know that you can make reservations online. It's amazing that most people don't know that still. So you can go onto your Canyon Lake POA website, log in, and you can make reservations just like tea times. You can make reservations for Happy Camp, and both restaurants there are open for reservations on there too. So it works really well. I've had an opportunity. I've spent a lot of time here at the new Sunset Terrace, the patio lodge and everything here. The last couple of weeks since it's been open, I've probably eaten here three or four times. I've been here hanging out with friends. It's amazing. It's really amazing. So if you guys haven't gotten out there and sat out there on the patio and had dinner, it's worth everything that we wanted it to be. And it's like Eric said, only halfway done. We don't even have the correct furniture out there yet. So we're still chasing our tail and we're refining it and making it better. But Laura and her team are knocking it out of the park. So make sure you guys are getting there. One other thing, I know Joe and I and a few of us were at pasta night at Country Club the other night. I think that's done once the last Thursday of the month. That was a great event that Alex, the chef, and their staff also puts on. It's really, really good. And it was a really nice change of pace from the regular menu. And my last thing is I want to give a big thank you to the Guild for Harbor Fest. It was an incredible event. It was probably one of the most crowded concerts I've seen there. The Journey Band came from Arizona. I think they had a great time. But all that staff and the Guild, they made that a full day event. I mean, they were there at 8 in the morning, and I'm sure they were there at midnight still breaking down. And those are incredible volunteers, and that's 100% giving back to the community. So just props to the Guild for doing that. And I think JWC and Clams, I'm sure I'm probably missing another club or two that were there involved with fundraising and so forth. But I really recommend you guys step in, go to those concerts. The free ones are awesome as well. So thanks again.
Thanks, Alex. Greg?
So I want to congratulate the Canyon Lake Yacht Club, who at the beginning of this year had 60 members. They just passed 300 members, more than a 500% increase. And that by itself is a feat. But what a lot of people don't know is a lot of people that joined this year are not boat owners. They joined because it was made clear to them that by joining, you don't have to have a boat. You can just come down to the dock when we have an event and jump on anybody's boat. And people have been doing that, which is, like I said, very cool, because a lot of people don't have boats and live off the lake and don't get a chance to get on the lake very often, if at all. And so this is a great opportunity for them to get on our lake and enjoy it. And again, I'm congratulating Ron Wilbur and Commodore of the Yacht Club and his staff for just doing a lot of work this year, signing up new members. Harbor Fest, I was also there. It was fantastic. But I want to, of course, congratulate the Guild and all of those people that helped the Guild, and there were many, but also the operations people, the unsung heroes, in my view, of many of our events. They got a shout out from, I believe it was Donna Ritchie on social media, well-deserved. But you have to realize that approximately 1/3 of our POA employees are operations people. That's a lot of people, but they have a lot of work to do. And they do it very well. So the next day when you showed up at the amphitheater and everything was cleaned up and everything was put away and it looked just like it did the day before at 8 o'clock in the morning, that a lot of that is our operations people. So I want to thank them for doing a great job all the time. The last thing is, we get a lot of mail, email. Not all of it's happy email, but we get it. And that's okay. But the issue is it's feedback. And somebody once said, feedback is the breakfast of champions. I'm still not sure what that means, but somebody said that once. And we got an email from a member approximately 6 weeks ago. And it was an idea to do something. And as a matter of fact, it's something that we voted on tonight, which was sent back, but it was that issue about the blocking the speed trailers. But that was an idea that came in from a member, again, about 6 weeks ago, and we all looked at it and said, that's a no-brainer. And here it is on the agenda tonight. And it was voted on, and we've sent it back for some amendments, as you all heard. But I'm encouraging you all to don't hesitate to send us your ideas, because some of them we don't know everything, and some of them are just no-brainers. So I thank that member for that feedback, and I would encourage you all to do the same in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Well, I've spoken a lot tonight, and my colleagues have I will just echo everything they said. 2 points. One is, for those of you who don't know, the alum applications have started yesterday, and they're continuing this week. So I want to make everyone aware of that. Also, as before, our next meeting is November 7th. And so there's a major event that happens in Canyon Lake every year between now and then, where lots of the little ghouls and ghosts and minions will be running down the streets, particularly these two streets, get a heavy traffic. I want to encourage everyone to be safe, to look out, drive safely around the kids, and have a happy Halloween. So with that, thank you everyone also thank the chairs that have done in all your service, and thank everyone for attending both physically and virtually. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.